Hey everybody, happy Saturday. I hope everyone is having a good day. There is a lot going on today. So yesterday I had said that I was going to go live today about the shooting at the Dallas high school, and this morning as I was looking around the news feed, there was a mass stabbing attack in Sydney, Australia, which I did post a short on not too long ago, where sadly 6 individuals have lost their lives and several others have been injured, including a 9-month-old baby who, unfortunately, her mom was one of those who did not survive. So, a lot of the news stations have said that it is a very unlikely event to happen in Australia. Their crime rate is not like it is here in the United States. And this, just seeing the video of this man who allegedly had gone to the mall, left, and then 5 minutes later went back and started just going after people. And thankfully, when police arrived, a police officer was able to find where the suspect was, and when he attempted to, when he raised his knife to her, she shot him, and he is no longer alive. So a lot of stuff happening in the world today, which is very sad. And not sure if True Checkson is here still, but hello, AMAC, thanks for being here. Ryan, Ash, Sober Pug. So thanks everybody for being here. So the shooting at Wilmer Hutchins High School in Dallas, Texas, happened yesterday around 10 a.m.-ish. So we're just going to talk about it, and the reason, AMAC shared this story with me, and so as I was listening to a lot of the concerns and what the school district itself said, I couldn't help but reflect on my own experiences, because the biggest question is, how did the metal detectors fail? How did this 17-year-old get a handgun into the school undetected? And there are many ways that could happen. Many ways. Hey, Pookie, thanks for being here. So we're going to get started. And so again, this happened yesterday in southeast Dallas.
Dallas police say a Wilmer Hutchins High School student shot another student on campus today. That shooting happened inside a classroom, even though the school in South.
And I will say, I was looking at the school campus on Google Maps. It is a gorgeous school campus. Gorgeous.
Southeast Dallas has metal detectors at entrances. Dallas ISD says a teacher intervened to prevent more potential injuries by directing the 17-year-old gunman out of the building. Fox Sports' Peyton Yeager takes a look at the timeline of the response to the shooting. Peyton.
Heather, and a 17-year-old who is facing a felony is treated as an adult and usually has their name and their mugshot released. We're still waiting for both of those pieces of information this evening. We do not know the identity of the 17-year-old gunman, but when those first 911 calls came in from the high school, there was some confusion here outside in the parking lot. Students were inside calling their parents, telling them they were on lockdown.
And that's one thing that it was interesting to hear, that the teacher had ushered this student out of the building. And that's not what we train for in schools. We don't train for, okay, like, here's a gunman, he's shooting someone. Let's try to get him away from the classroom and outside, away from everyone else. So I'm really interested to hear how all of this actually went down, so to speak, because again, this is Texas. I know how we train. We use Alice training in New York State. So I'm not sure what they do in Texas, but it just wouldn't be the first thing that I feel like we would do as educators. Hey Kit, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. You've been doing a lot of work lately, Kit. And I don't always say hi, but sometimes I'm just, in the bushes listening. And thanks for covering those cases that you do.
It was a frantic scene outside a Dallas ISD high school on Friday. Police say a 17-year-old student was taken into custody after shooting a 17-year-old classmate inside Wilmer Hutchins High.
I didn't know how many people it was that was in the school with guns.
The campus near I-20 and J.J. Lemon Road was flooded with first responders, including Dallas ISD Police, Dallas Police, Hutchins Police, and Dallas Fire Rescue.
This is really, really crazy because this is an old school of mine. I used to go to school here.
Around 10:30 a.m., law enforcement responded to an active shooter call. Once officers entered the building, they learned this was an isolated shooting between the gunman and the victim.
And so that in itself was amazing, that it was just a dispute between two students, and that and again, I'm guessing because the teacher had gotten the shooter outside, and so that's where the confusion came in. It, obviously it was isolated because unfortunately one student was shot in the leg with non-life-threatening injuries, thankfully. It's just...
We did have a student shot today in the leg in a classroom setting by another student.
The district says after the student was shot, a teacher was able to direct the gunman out of the building. The 17-year-old suspect was taken into custody near the football field. A motive is still unknown, but there's no indication from police that the shooter was after more than just the one student.
We think it's between those two students, but we'll find out.
Dallas ISD Superintendent Dr. Stephanie Elizalde says the teenage victim will survive.
And it is a non-life-threatening injury. That should never be a normal statement that should come from a superintendent.
To know that he's okay, and it's a great relief.
Meanwhile, parents waited on the perimeter to be reunited with their children, like Sharon Coleman and her son, Deshaun.
They said they were shooting, so a bullet can go anywhere. A bullet don't have no name on it.
And I completely agree with that mom. A bullet does not have a name on it. So I can obviously understand their concern, their fear. Getting a message from your child that, someone was shot in a classroom at school is pretty terrifying. Hey, Truth Seeker.
The most pressing questions from parents: where were the campus security failures that allowed a teenager to bring a gun into the high school?
Metal detectors, wands, police, security, but yet a gun is in that school.
The district confirms Wilmer Hutchins High has metal detectors. Dallas ISD also has a new policy this year requiring clear backpacks.
We know that there are vulnerabilities. There are so many entrances to schools. So that's one of the areas that the chief will be working with the school to identify those vulnerabilities.
And I have to agree with the superintendent there because, yes, there is one main entrance. However, there are other exits so there's, depending on the grade, there's a certain entrance. Where I'm at, so certain grades, certain entrance, they all go through metal detectors. They all have their bags searched. So it's almost like when you think of a TSA line at the airport, that's what happens. they also have to take off their shoes. So again, it's just like TSA. And their bags are thoroughly searched. I do find it a great idea that this school actually changed its policy to only include clear backpacks so that everything within that backpack would be able to be seen. However, kids are creative. They're not going to necessarily hide things in their backpacks. They're going to hide them in other places where, are less obvious.
Eighth grader told reporters some days the searches are not as thorough as they should be.
They just literally open our backpack like this. They literally just do like this, and they don't even check them all the way through.
And we know this evening that a handgun was found inside the school earlier today when that investigation was going on. Now, the investigation also is ongoing for how the gun made its way into the school. The district says it will now review surveillance video and see where they may need to change other protocols. Heather?
All right, lots to figure out. Peyton, thank you.
So a lot going on. Yeah, Truth Seeker, I don't remember having to worry about guns. I mean, I went to school in a really small area, but I remember us getting, threats called in and having to evacuate the school. There was, and having to sit on a school bus for hours until the entire school was cleared to be sure it was safe, for us to go back in. That's happened actually quite a few times in my teaching career. The bomb threats. So this clip goes into parents being frustrated with the lack of communication during the events that happened. And again, I can understand their concern because their children are there. Sometimes it takes hours.
Some waits just feel a lot longer than others. Long enough to feel a lot of things.
I'm drained, I'm frustrated, I'm angered.
Nothing.
For Deshandra Johnson, it's the wait to hear her son on the phone.
It's just ringing, and then it'll cut out. So.
For Sharice Johnson, it's to touch her son again.
It means that he's safe, it means that he's okay, it means that we can hug him again.
Anyone else? Need a card?
These parents outside Wilmer Hutchins High School heard a student was shot by another student.
As soon as the police department is done sweeping the rest of the school,
and prayed neither were theirs.
Send mine out, because y'all can't protect her.
I don't want nothing to happen to my daughter. Like, I'm her protector.
My daughter's in her.
Students were placed on lockdown. Parents felt that way too.
Make sure you have your paper with you. Come on.
An hour in, progress. Eager parents are now in.
And I will say an hour is a pretty short amount of time. But a lockdown is a lockdown. No one's leaving until police clear that room or that area. So, but again, I understand. I can try to understand because obviously I don't have children, but I can understand the feeling I would have if one of my loved ones was in that school, and just knowing there was a shooting, not knowing exactly what happened or how many were injured, if it was still going on. Truth Seeker, this happened yesterday morning around 10:30 a.m. And again, this is Dallas, Texas. And I did look up how many students were at Wilmer Hutchins High School, and it's actually a lot less than I thought. And again, this is 5 years ago. In 2017, 2018, there were 857 students. And currently it's stating it has 998. So it does have under 1,000 students, which I actually because it's a suburb of Dallas, I really thought that it would have a much higher population of students. The high school where I'm at has close to 3,000. So, 857, that's not to me, that's a pretty small high school.
In the parking lot.
As long as we have a car, they're going to reunite us with our kids. They're going to bring our child out.
By now, word has reached the parents. One student is injured and the shooter is in custody.
It's going to take a minute for your child to be released.
The district says the campus is secure.
Oh, Jesus.
These parents, understandably, still want to see their children.
I am definitely in front of the line. I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
the lockdown is lifted. Parents rushed to the campus, desperate to see their children.
I'm sure you're okay.
How you feel?
For two parents, it is relief.
You straight.
Finally,
I can't stop touching you. I'm sorry.
Charisse found her son, Legend.
Somebody almost lost their kid today. It could have been you. It could have been anybody.
Deshandra found her son, Cadre. They are shaken, but safe.
He finally called me like right before I went in to get him.
The never-ending cycle of school mass shootings sadly have conditioned us to feel this way, even if what happened here is far from that.
To know that he's okay, and it's a great relief, and it's just overwhelming.
When we send our kids off to school, we expect for them to be safe there.
Parents and students were reunited. Extracurriculars have been canceled for Friday. And the only wait now is to get home.
Ooh, what's happening here? So the next two clips are the statement from the school superintendent, and then she does have some others that give statements as well in regards to the incident and future steps. But again, thankfully, this one student who was shot will be okay physically anyways. Mentally and emotionally, I think all of these kids are being affected because it's scary. Okay, now this is, give me 1 second. This was acting wonky before too. For some reason, it wasn't letting me play on the slide, but it was letting me play on all right, let's see. Give me one moment. Technical difficulties here. All right, so let me just bring this over. All right, so we should be good to go now.
Supportive family.
Ooh, too far. All right, here we go. Now we're ready.
If you will allow me, I'd like to make some statements in English, then I'd like to make some statements in Spanish, and then I will take a very few questions. I do have team members with me that may be able to answer a few more. I want to make sure that we're clear. We never want to provide any information that jeopardizes an investigation, so please be patient with us. This is a very, very, very hard day today. And I'm standing here with more than just a heavy heart. And I know that we have a speaker behind us, but it is more important that we focus on ensuring that all of our families are reunified with all of their loved students inside. So I'm not going to stop that process for a moment for me to visit with you all, and I hope you all understand that. We did have a student shot today in the leg in a classroom setting by another student. And individuals in that classroom, namely the adult teacher in that room, helped us avoid additional tragedy. This is absolutely unacceptable and unimaginable, but it is happening across schools in America. I know that everyone has many questions. I have those questions. I have those very same questions that you all are going to want to ask us that we are still working on. Thankfully, our student is in the care of professionals and it is a non-life threatening injury. That should never be a normal statement that should come from a superintendent. I shouldn't be saying, and the student has a non-life threatening injury. I refuse to say that we will normalize these behaviors. I refuse. And I hope that everyone joins me, as everyone here who is supporting us at this time understands this can never become acceptable. We can and we must eradicate these types of situations. We must all come to grips with the fact that the solution is a collective responsibility. This is not something that a school can individually do. It is not something a neighborhood can individually do. We must work together. Educators, parents, community members, and advocates, we must all come together and center around the issue that we must provide services and resources to our communities who all need them. I'm deeply, deeply grateful for the first responders who mobilized, starting with our Dallas ISD Police Department, the Dallas Police Department, the Hutchins Police Department, Dallas Fire and Rescue, and our incredible school staff who within minutes secured this facility. I also want to acknowledge, of course, our Dallas ISD trustees. I'll introduce one of our trustees from this community who's here with me as well, Trustee Maxie Johnson. We also have Mayor of Wilmer here, Sheila Petta, and State Representative, of course, Carl Sherman, who all came out to support and to help us as we work through this unification process. This investigation is in fact ongoing, and our Dallas ISD Chief of Police, Albert Martinez, will be able to take a few questions. I have instructed him to explore every single option to evaluate our vulnerabilities and how we can mitigate these so that this does not happen again. When families send their children to school, just as I have sent mine to school, they should not have to worry about the safety of their children. I take that very seriously. We have work to do. And so I also want to thank our parents, for they have been tremendously understanding and patient through this process. I would not rush the unification process. We had to do it correctly. We had to ensure we were providing mental health support right in the moment as parents were coming for their students. I know that we are a strong and resilient community, and we will come together. I know we will heal. I know we will grow. I know we will get better. And yet, I have heard my colleagues and I say these words too many times. It cannot be the normal response. So I would like to make my statements in Spanish, and then I'll take a few questions. Estoy aquí con un corazón muy...
Okay, so we are going to move to the next slide just because she does repeat what she had said in English, also in Spanish. So this is when she's done making her statement in Spanish, she goes back to English and answers some questions.
Say these words too many times. It cannot be the normal response. So I would like to make my statements in
Oh,
Spanish.
I'm so sorry. Clearly I am having many technical difficulties here. Give me 1 second.
Nuestros
All right, we're just going to skip a little bit more.
Están seguros. Be a member of that. A nuestros padres por su permanecer tranquilos. Soluciones. Again, I want to thank our entire community, especially our entire Dallas ISD and supportive family. They exhibited calm, they exhibited compassion and courage. And I am thankful to be a member of that team. I'll take just a couple of questions and then I'll turn it over to our team who are far more informed on this. And then some of the members here with me may also want to be making a statement. So let me take just a couple of questions. Robin, will you help me?
I know you may say maybe a question for the chief, but can you say was the gun recovered?
Yes, yeah, the weapon has been recovered. The person is in custody. So that is obviously the question I have that I don't have an answer for with regard to how did the gun get inside. We do have metal detectors. They were in use today. We know that there are vulnerabilities. There are so many entrances to schools. So that's one of the areas that the chief will be working with the school to identify those vulnerabilities. I don't know the actual location, but it was a classroom, a small classroom setting. Oh, there we will absolutely. Our chief will lead an after-action study and report lessons learned so that we can share those practices with our other campuses as well. Again, in an effort to stay proactive, we must use this tragedy to learn something and ensure that we don't wait for something else to occur. The teacher is a very humble individual, and he was able to direct the student away from the campus so that he could take care of first the injured student, and secondly to ensure that the alleged suspect did not enter into the rest of the school building. So that's why I know how much more was avoided, because he was directed away from the school. Yeah, I'll turn that one over to Chief Martinez.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Both are students at this school.
Sorry, what was your question, Rebecca? We had assistance from Dallas Police Department. They were here as well. As the superintendent mentioned, there were other agencies here, but the student or the shooter was captured back over in the stadium area. Officer saw him and contained, and then he surrendered. No, man, right now we don't know motive, but we'll certainly look into that to establish why. I do not know. It's not a rifle. It's basically a handgun. I don't have the exact timeline, but it was sometime after 10. I can tell you I was just coming from our administrative headquarters. I had just pulled up to the police headquarters when the call came out. So about 6 of us were coming down the freeway. We got here. Dallas Fire Rescue had already set up their active shooter command post. They did a tremendous job. We had Hutchins PD help us out. And I would say we were here from the time of the call, maybe 7-8 minutes. But there were already officers here already tending to the victim. No, sir. It is in this building in the classroom. Right. It was already mentioned there are metal detectors. We're complying with House Bill 3, where we're checking doors. We're making sure they're locked. We do our own internal audits. The TEA has come out and done audits. Our Office of Emergency Management has done audits, as well as our school safety, the resources monitoring have also done audits. So, and even internally, the campuses have their own security teams doing the same thing. So, along with all of this, as well, is constant monitoring. We have the cameras, which we're going to utilize to determine exactly what was asked. How did this come about? So we'll reach out to resources. I don't have to call Chief Garcia to ask him for any help, but I've already reached out with Texas DPS was here as well, so I've already reached out to them. We will reutilize our state resources. The FBI has already called as well. So whatever resources we need to examine and really analyze those videos, we will, to determine how this came about. I don't know, sir, but we probably won't even get into that. Again, it's contained to those two students for whatever reason.
Some of the parents have been telling me that the metal detectors aren't working, and that's most of the time that the students don't use the metal detectors and they put their bags around so they don't get checked.
We'll look into that. We'll see that on video, but also the expectation on that, if for some reason it's malfunctioning, there are other alternatives that we use through our school monitors, our security teams, to use wands as well to examine them. But we'll look into that. As far as we can tell, because of the incident, we think it's between those two students, but we'll find out.
Can you give the ages and or classes?
I believe both may be adult age, being 17 and older, but I don't know their exact age or class. Not that I know of. We just captured them out near the stadium in the back on the west side of the school. But as far as how that took place, I don't know. I don't know, sir. Yeah. Okay. Just on the upper thigh, as far as we know, sir. Yeah. Okay.
Anything else? Otherwise, in Spanish? Did you need a couple of questions in Spanish? You good?
Okay. I just wanted to go ahead and. So I would like to take a moment now and turn this over to our Board of Trustees, Maxie Johnson, who is a representative of this community. Trustee Johnson.
And before we get to that, so Kit had asked if there had been a shooting not long before this one. And so I haven't figured that out yet, but what I did find was they have the world population review type where you can get, population statistics. Well, now they have what is a school shootings by state 2024. And you can see that the lighter the blue, the more school shootings there are. And at the top for 2024 is California with 232, Texas second with 192, Florida third with 132. And you can see it appears that, well, let's see, you can also go to bottom. Okay, so every single state has had a school shooting in 2024. The lowest was Wyoming with 2, North Dakota and Hawaii 3, Vermont 4. Those were the bottom 3. I'm curious to see New York. Oh, here's New York. So going back to the top, New York is up there as well, top 10. 3, 6. So this is the top 10. California, Texas, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, New York, Georgia, and North Carolina. It is a super alarming, Sunnyside. I didn't realize that this website existed. Let's see. So this is interesting. So it says the United States has recorded 2,331 school shootings since 1970. Nearly a fifth of these incidents occurred between 2020 and 2022, when school shootings were at their 20-year peak. That's crazy. In 2020, there were 96 school shootings recorded. In 2021, that number ballooned to 202. In the first half of 2023 alone, there have been 182 reports of gunfire on K-12 school campuses. And then they say the most deadly school shootings to date were the 2007 Virginia Tech shooting, where 33 university students and faculty members were killed, and the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, which resulted in the deaths of 27 elementary school students and staff. So I'll put, if anyone is interested in this site, I will put it in chat. Again, I mean, these numbers are staggering, and it's only April. It is only April. And it's mid-April. So we've 3.5 months into the year. Very scary. Hey, Delicious. How are you? Okay, so Delicious. Actually, let me go back there. That's a good question. So Montana has had 10. Montana has had 10 school shootings this year, 2024. And it's interesting because, well, not necessarily interesting, but I remember during a training that I had for, lockdown. So we use ALICE training, which stands for, give me one second. Something's going on with my computer here. So ALICE stands for, let me think now. I should know this. I might have to look it up. Alert. I believe A is alert. Oh my gosh. I'm so embarrassed right now. I need to look it up. I just know the process of what we're supposed to do. I don't necessarily know what the acronym is. And you'd think that would be the first thing that came up, but it's not. I know E is evacuate. L is lockdown. So alert, lockdown. I'm going to find it. Here we go. Trainer meeting. There we go. Inform, counter, evacuate. So alert would be to alert, either through the intercom, lockdown. Inform. So that's when, law enforcement would be informed. Counter, that is where we are trained that if in the event that there was an active shooter, we would barricade our classroom doorways. So whether it be with desks, chairs, tables, file cabinets, anything to help prevent the person from gaining entrance into the classroom. Our doors also have to be locked and closed at all times. So hope, which I don't like necessarily because it does make the rooms a little stuffy, but it does keep things a little bit safer, in my opinion. So, and then evacuate is, if gunfire is on the other side of the school, and you can safely evacuate through a window, do it. Yes. Okay, so we're going to go back to the slides. Oh, I know, Truth Seeker, how much the world has changed. I know it. Or, you know, they started recording it in 1970, but how do we, I mean, I'm guessing if there was anything of significance that it would have been documented. But I mean, just the uptick in number the past 4 years is huge. Yeah, Cassie, I hope parents start thinking twice about their kids' friends' behaviors and mental health of their child, get them help. I honestly believe that C-19 had a huge effect on kids, both socially, academically, mentally, physically. You know, and there's a lot of gaps that happened in those, you know, those couple of years. Hey, SoFlo. So this clip is, again, just an updated clip. And then the last clip I have is just, they talk to some parents, some of the students that were in the school when this happened, just to get their perspective on what happened. And I just remembered that's what I was gonna say in regards to the Alice training. I got sidetracked. So we were always told in our training, you never want that CNN moment, because when a school has a mass shooting or some other big event, back then, you know, this was a few years back, you don't want CNN to show up. And so they would always say in training, you don't want that CNN moment. Yep, AMAC, you end up on CNN. And especially now with social media, I mean, it could be almost instantaneous. Not necessarily just having CNN on location, but instantaneously having people, you know, in the field close. So oh my gosh, I am so sorry, y'all. I forgot to change the screen. I am so sorry. And I've been looking at my phone and no one was like, we don't hear anything. We don't hear anything. All right. Oh my gosh, what is happening? All right. Let's go back to that. We're getting freezing rain here. Yesterday when I woke up, so, well, when I got to work around 8 o'clock in the morning, it was 63 degrees out. 63 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. And now we are having freezing rain.
A lot of information to sort through this afternoon involving this shooting. We can tell you one student was shot today. That student is expected to be okay, thankfully. The suspected shooter, another student, is in custody. No other injuries were reported there on campus. Now, we first got word of this just before 11 a.m. at Wilmer Hutchins High School in southeast Dallas. That's right at the intersection of I-20 and I-45. Let's take you out live over that school from our chopper right now. We have also learned that within the hour here that a teacher had helped to diffuse that situation and potentially saved lives out there at that high school today. Senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez has been all over this today. She is out at the high school joining us live after listening in on a news conference this afternoon and getting critical information from her sources all day today. Rebecca, what are you able to tell us as we come on the air at this hour?
Well, Jason, this news conference basically confirmed what my sources told us early on, that this involved two students who possibly knew each other, and that one student was shot in the leg, as you mentioned, and another student, the shooter, ran off and was arrested shortly after the shooting. Now, we are...
Okay, so that's interesting because, so it seems then, based on that statement, that the teacher was able to usher or somehow get the student who had the weapon out of the building. And at that time, based on what this reporter just said, he ran off, but he was later apprehended. So that's interesting.
Told that this happened in an area of the school called Hall G Hall. They say the shooter and the victim had words. That's according to my sources. And then the suspect shot that student in the leg. The DISD super.
And that's what seems to happen a lot these days, and not necessarily in school, but outside of school. Kids have words, and then they don't know how to use their words or to express how they're feeling. And so it's really sad to me that their first instinct would be to bring a weapon to school to somehow silence the other person or to get back at the other person. Again, just speculating. I'm not inside these kids' minds, but you see it a lot, especially outside of school, with fighting, and weapons tend to make an appearance. I feel more so now than when I was in school. I mean, there were fights all the time, but I don't remember one fight that involved a weapon. So it's just, you know, that split-second decision to, you know, bring a weapon to school. Yeah, over words, Sunnyside, I know it.
Superintendent says the teacher inside that classroom prevented further tragedy by getting the shooter out of the school. She called the teacher humble and brave. DISD Police Chief Albert Martinez says officers arrested the suspect shortly after the shooting in an area around the football field. They are still trying to determine the motive at this time. They will go through security videos and talk to witnesses to determine how that gun got into the school, which has metal detectors. By the way, that gun was found in the woods nearby, according to...
Okay, wait a minute. And this video was the most recently updated video. But the superintendent had said the gun was found inside the school. Well, let me rephrase. She said a handgun was found inside the school. This reporter is now saying that a gun was found in the that gun was found in the woods nearby. Well, you can't be in two places at once. So that's interesting. That's something that's not lining up.
Sources. Now, the school was shut down as officers secured the entrances and eventually reunited students with frightened parents.
I refuse to say that we will normalize these behaviors. I refuse. And I hope that everyone joins me, as everyone here who is supporting us at this time understands this can never become acceptable. We can and we must eradicate these types of situations.
There will be an after action report to determine exactly how the system failed, how the security system failed here at the school. The shooter, who is 17 years old, is being questioned by police. The 17-year-old victim went to Baylor, again, non-life threatening injuries. No one else was injured, but as you can imagine, this was very.
Oh, and I didn't mean to cut her off. She did say this is very frightening, which I definitely agree with. So the last clip I have is of students who were in the school, and there's this one boy who he's just such a happy kid. He was my favorite part of this clip. So we'll hear from parents and students and what their experience was. Yeah, we do. We have lockdown drills, and they're always looking for line of sight. So when you have, a classroom that's not very big with, 25 to 30 kids, you only have a very small area where y'all can fit in. And if the shooter was to look in the window, you're out of line of sight. So the design of schools even, I feel, has to change, because ideally they're all pretty much created the same. They're, these rectangles with the door towards the front usually, or towards the back. And again, that line of sight is a very small area, small part of that classroom.
I made a whole little escape plan, and I just ran it.
Oh, and there's the kid I was talking about. He's such a cool kid. All right, we're gonna go back to the beginning now.
Okay, I've got Kennard Walker here. Kennard has a daughter who's here on campus. This is the 9 through 12 campus, or what's that?
Yes, sir. 9 through 12.
I think I know the answer. Everybody knows the answer, but what possessed you to come right here?
As soon as my daughter called me and said, "Hey, Dad, this an active shooter," I was on my way.
She texted you that, or what?
No, she called. She called me.
And what was the nature of that call? What did she sound like?
She kind of sounded confused because she didn't know if it was a hoax or not. But then when she realized it was something that was really going on, she was just start kind of sounding a little frantic, a little scared. And I got up here as soon as possible.
Yeah, you dropped everything. Do you live far from here?
I stay in Lancaster, so it wasn't too far. But yeah.
What are you and probably a lot of the parents that are waiting here with you, what do you think they're feeling?
All the parents probably in a state of shock, just because they want to see their kids, they want to see their baby, they want to make sure their baby's all right. So, like that's probably the biggest thing all the parents out here feel right now.
How are you communicating with your daughter right now? Is it over phone?
Yes.
And what is she telling you? Are they in lockdown? What is she telling you about that?
Yeah, she said they are locked down. They locked down the classes. They locked down the school. Supposedly, I don't know how the lockdown situation goes, but I know the class that she in has a lock on the door, so that door is locked as well.
Does she feel safe? What is she telling you?
Yeah, she feels safe for the most part, but she's still on edge because there was active shooter on campus.
Kennard, tell me, we've all been through a case by case of active shooter situations like this. My guess is that's where your mind goes when you came here, when you rushed to the scene.
Yes. I keep on thinking about what happened down there in U Valley. I don't want nothing to happen to my daughter. Like, I'm her protector. I have 3 kids, and for this to happen at this school, I need to know that she needs to know that I'm here to protect her, and the only person that can stop me from protecting her is God. Just to be totally honest.
How much does it hurt not being here and not there?
Oh, it hurts bad. Like I would rather be in that school looking for my daughter and finding her way out than just to sit right here. Like this is troublesome.
And I'm sure you know schools have protocols like this for a reason, to ensure your children are safe. You had told me that.
And I am going to pause it there just for a moment because I did look up the Texas lockdown, school lockdown procedures, and it does say that Texas requires lockdown drills at least twice a school year, once per semester. Lockdown drills, also known as active shooter drills, are a response to threats of violence inside the school building, such as armed intruders or suspicious trespassers. And they follow SRP training. Okay, so standard, it's K through 12, standard response protocol toolkit is what they call it. And I will drop that in the chat if anyone is interested.
That there are metal detectors on this campus, is that right?
Yes, there are metal detectors on the campus.
Is there a possibility that whatever mechanism they have there has failed here if we've got a gun on campus and we have a shooting here on campus?
And also, just as a disclaimer, this was prior to the news conference and police updating the press on what had happened. So again, this is while these parents are waiting for their children to be evacuated and or released to their custody.
Honestly, I don't think it failed. If I had to say anything, I believe somebody that was already in the school let him inside the school, knowing that what he was going to do.
You're saying this was something that people had already known about?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I'm not for sure, but that's what I would imagine, because that metal detector would go off.
I agree with that statement. So that's my initial inkling, was that someone, kids talk, someone, again, allegedly, if the metal detector did not go off, that means he had to have gotten that weapon into the school by alternate means. And that could be having another student open the door for him. That's not where the metal detectors are.
What is he saying? Tell me what your son said.
His best friend, he's seen everything. His best friend got shot. And he's all shaken up. And he want me to just come get him, but they won't let me go up there and get him. This school is not set for the dress code. They come with anything, dress how they want to dress, and then they're not even at the metal detector like they should be. And I don't understand it.
Goodness, what did your son tell you he saw?
When his best friend got shot.
Shot badly or shot in the leg like we're hearing?
He said he just seen when the guns started going off, and he just went and started praying.
As a mom, you know that your son's okay, but this is still hard.
Yes. I would just like for them to let me get to my son. I don't want nothing to happen to my son. And they won't even tell you no answers or nothing. When you ask the cop, they don't give you no answers. They just tell you get back.
Yeah. But you know your son's okay. Yeah.
Yes. And I believe that God's got him covered. But I just would like to touch my son and get my son in my hand. And I don't think I'm going to let him go back to the school no more. Because it makes it harder when you see it on the news. You feel sorry for the people. It's even harder when you there.
Yeah.
And then you get no comfort from the police or no one to give you comfort except you just know your son is in danger.
Oh, goodness. So you're still waiting to hear from him again?
Yes.
Okay. Well, bless you. Thank you for talking to me. I can hear you now, Jacob. Hey, it's Kevin Reese with Channel 8. We're just hanging with your mom out here. How you guys doing in there?
restless, hot,
Yeah.
annoying.
Where do they have you locked up?
I was in the locker room, and now they moved us to the small gym at the back of the school. Well, that's at the back of the school.
So now they have y'all in the gym?
Yeah, there's two gyms. They got the big main gym and then a smaller gym,
Okay.
like to the right of it.
Still towards the back of the school?
Same location
Okay.
where you always drop me off and pick me up. Yes.
Okay.
Jacob, are they giving you any information at all?
Only information, the same information I gave my mom.
And what was that?
The
That we have to come and sign you out, but we can't get through.
yeah, the ID release thing. You can't get in. They aren't letting us out.
Yeah. What have you guys heard about what actually happened?
From what I've heard, 2 injured, and that's basically what I've heard.
So that's interesting because we know now, again, this was before all the details had been released by the superintendent and law enforcement. But here, this young kid who is in lockdown had said he heard 2 were injured, whereas 1 was injured and 1 was the one doing the injuring. So that's interesting as well. Although possibly someone else was injured, but not to the extent that they would have to be treated by medics or go to the hospital. But it's always interesting hearing what was said prior and then what actually occurred.
2 injured, a bunch of people outside, nobody knowing what's happening.
Okay. Well, how are you guys holding up? Waiting and waiting and waiting.
Just getting restless, that's it. That's just about it.
Restless and want to know what's going on.
Yeah, about the same thing.
Have they given you any timing of when they're going to let you loose?
Nope, I'm making guesses myself, and we keep getting 30 minutes longer each time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you're in a gymnasium?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are in the practice gym.
Okay. Well, hang in there. We'll just chat with your mom real quick, and I don't know if you want to keep him on the line or call him back.
Yeah, I'll call you back, okay, honey?
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
Love you.
Bye, baby.
Bye-bye.
How's mom holding up with all
I'm a nervous wreck and ran across my job and flew here as fast as I could.
Let me wait on this truck. Yeah, I forgot how many. This is like the home of every warehouse in the world down
Yes, there's trucks everywhere.
there. That's where you work at one of those places at Penn State,
Yes,
right?
sir. I work at Sprouts Warehouse in Wilmer.
Okay.
It's actually in Wilmer, yeah.
Oh, what's your reaction to something like this, that a shooting happened in the same school where your son is right now?
Worst fear of my life. Yeah. Not a message or a phone call that I wanted to receive today. Yep.
Did you get the first alert from him or somewhere else?
I got it from my mom because I was at work, so he texted her and told her what was going on, and then that's when I heard about what was going on, and I left immediately.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
What's it like?
Definitely the scariest thing, that you feel helpless because you can't get to your son. You know, you can't get to your heart, to your joy. Yep.
But the good thing is, he's okay.
Yes, definitely. I know. I feel better that he's okay. I want him back with me now.
Mm-hmm. Any clear answers on where reunification is going to happen?
They told us right here in this location that we're at right now.
So you wait.
Yeah, and they told me that probably almost an hour ago.
Oh, so you got no other place to go?
I have nowhere else to go. I don't know where else we're supposed to go, and my son's telling me he don't know what's going on or where they're supposed to be going to. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. The gentlemen that are right here, the officers that are right here, they don't know what's going on and said that they'll just let us know when they find out what's going on.
Okay. Well, what's that reunification going to be like? Does mom think?
I'm gonna make sure I go and give him a big old hug and hold on to him, because you just never know with this world and this day and this time and this life, when it's gonna be the last moment you get to hold anybody and tell them that you love them.
So true.
Well, I hope the rest of your Friday for all of us is a little better.
Yeah, it was definitely unexpected.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely unexpected.
So you're gonna hang tight here?
Yeah, that's all I can do right now at this point because I can't get through anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's just right up and over the hill.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I was at the corner of JJ Lemon and this road,
I
and that's where a
believe.
lot of parents kind of walked in,
Yeah.
before the roadblock came up.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so
Yeah, I
so,
didn't get here in time. By the time I got here and I started trying to make my way down to the school walking, they turned me back around and told me I couldn't go.
Okay. Well, hang tight. We hope we all get the same good news at the same time.
All right. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you.
So that woman, again, just like the dad that spoke at the beginning of this clip, just the not knowing and getting that phone call, and even as an educator, that's the day we hope never happens.
What have they told you anything? Who are you waiting to hear from? Son, daughter?
Mi hijo.
Mijo?
My son.
Son?
Yeah.
How difficult is it waiting for information?
That's so difficult. I'm live like a five house to that school, and I don't know nothing because the police say it's only one kid in the hospital, and I don't know.
So you don't know.
And so I can't imagine that either. So police are telling the parents that one student was taken to the hospital, one child, but they can't. I would assume they would know who the student was, and that they would have informed their parent or guardian. But here, this woman not knowing, the police are just saying, one person was taken to the hospital, and not knowing if it's her son or not. Again, the anguish and turmoil that excuse me, these parents must be feeling.
If it's your son or somebody else's.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, what are you going to do now? Just wait?
Yeah, I'm gonna wait right here.
My kid texted me and said, Mom, come get me. They said, come to the front and then go to the SAT gym. So I guess they're releasing on Lemon, but the police are saying they're not releasing on this side, which is conflicting. If y'all all work for the police, y'all should know if they're releasing on one side opposed to the other.
Yeah.
So he's like, don't quote me, but it's like, do you work for the police or don't you? Do you know what orders are already being said? Because if they're releasing, you should have like confirmation, like, okay, maybe on Lemon, but just not over here. But he's not even confirming that. To Lemon.
You're going to try to get on Lemon?
I certainly am.
Off of the frontage road?
I certainly am.
Okay.
Because he said this would be the last that they would release. So who knows how long I would be waiting here if they're releasing already on that side. I'd rather take the chances if they're releasing over there than to wait for confirmation over here. Gotcha. There's not enough information.
Yeah.
As soon as it happened, he's like, Mom, something's going on. He's like, I saw one of my teachers sprinting down the hallway. He said, everybody get inside and lock the doors. And he's like, I don't know what's happening. I just wanted to let you know. And we've been texting constantly since then.
Okay. Did he hear or see anything?
He did not. He did not.
What are they telling you is the latest now? Because we're all trying to figure out if they're going to let the kids out early and let you go pick them up. What is he saying they're being told?
Well, he said they only let us out to lunch. They aren't going to let, I told him that I'm trying to get to him. Yeah. He said they aren't going to let you. I'll tell you that now. Nobody can leave, so we have to go back to class and eat in class.
And that's what he just texted you?
Yes.
And so that's interesting. So at that point, the fact that her son said that they let them go get lunch and then they had to eat in their classrooms, that would tell me that the school and law enforcement knew that it was an isolated incident and that they were more likely doing a hold in place until they could clear each classroom or area of the school.
Okay. I think Martin and myself, our story is basically going to be this confusion today because we've got other people handling what actually happened.
Right.
As a parent, from one parent to another, what's it like to be stuck where you are right now, not able to get to your son?
Terrifying. It finally sank in after a while. I live right across from the school, so I can hear the helicopters. I'm literally on my balcony looking at the police cars flying back and forth, and I can't get to my child. And I'm telling him, just stay in touch with me, but don't get in trouble for it and try to be safe. I don't want your phone dinging. And he's like, no, I'm good, Mama, I'm good. They had them in their classrooms with the doors locked. I asked him if they were like huddled or if, were they seated, and he said no, we're seated. He's like, the teacher's here, the doors are locked, and we're safe. I asked him if he could hear anything going on.
That's a mad parent right there.
Apparently, yeah. He
Yeah.
said when it first happened, he did hear a lot of people screaming and running, and he didn't know what happened, and then they just started gathering them and telling them go to their classes now. But it's horrifying. I am shaking. I just want my child. And like I said, I live right there, and I cannot put my hands on him. That's the worst part.
You have a student that's inside, right?
I do.
So break down to me what you were told by your child, and also when you found out that the school was on lockdown.
So my son texted me this morning. I guess it was about 10 something, maybe about 10:30 or so. He texted me and he was just like, "Mama," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Come get me. They shooting outside, and they tweaking." I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I got on Facebook, and that's when I seen Smash the Topic. Was actually like live on the scene, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So I drove up here, and I seen the road was blocked off. I didn't get a notification from the school, so I didn't know, of course, anything was going on. So I'm like, okay, well, why ain't nobody notified us? I'm, texting my son, telling him, well, they need to send an email, do something.
And I agree. I'm actually curious as to, I know we have what's called an all call. So normally in situations such as this, or even weather related, school closing, if they're, we're in we also have lock-ins where there's law enforcement activity outside the school, so we have to stay in the building. So they would have what's called, it's an all call where they send out messages to all of the parents in a mass call. There's a lot of apps that are used as well where parents can get notifications, but that's interesting that the mom is saying, they haven't notified them in any way at this point.
They need to notify the parents. Well, it wasn't until I was on my way up here at like 11:17 where the call finally comes through with them letting us know that the school was safe, the staff and students were safe, and for us not to come to the school. And I was like, well, no, I'm not gonna not come to the school. I want my baby. So, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. He had told me, that one student had already gotten shot. I'm not sure, how many, of course, ended up getting shot, but he said one student had already gotten shot already. I just want to get my kid is what I want.
Did your son know the shooter or anyone who got shot? Did he know anybody?
No, he real standoffish. He don't do people.
Oh,
So
I
he's
don't do
real
people either.
standoffish, and he suffers with anxiety really really bad. So I'm sure after this, he probably not even gonna want to come to school.
And that's so
For
sad.
you, how does it feel as a parent? This you're not expecting this on any day, really.
Right. I mean, as a parent, it makes me mad because of the fact that the school did not notify me. The school didn't notify me in for me in a timely manner, what I would consider to be a timely manner. Aside from that, I mean, y'all got metal detectors at the front door. When I come to the school, you can't even get in the school without going through the metal detector. So I'm just trying to understand. They said that, the kid snuck the gun in the school. I'm trying to see how did he sneak the gun in the school, and y'all all got to go through metal detectors. If they don't work, then y'all need to make sure that they're operable. I'm not understanding.
Now, do students always come to the front, or are they able to come through any other entrances in school?
From my understanding, they all have to go through the front. Now, if they go through any other entrance, I don't know. From my understanding, they all have to go through the front.
And right now, your son, he's still on lockdown in his classroom, or where is he in school?
Yeah, he said they were on lockdown in the classroom, and that they had, I guess, nothing but a TV light on. So I guess they got all the lights off, but he said they had them locked down in the classroom.
Okay. And now you're just waiting to get the word for him to come out and come on.
Yeah, I told him to text me when they, let him off lockdown.
Okay. Now we've been seeing a lot of these shooting situations take place in schools. Does that worry you when you send your child to school every day?
Absolutely. It worries me for my high schooler that's in ninth grade, and it worries me for my 9-year-old that's in third grade because it happened at the elementaries too. So the whole world is going crazy, and it makes absolutely no sense. I was telling my son today, I was like, y'all as kids just need to sit down and
focus on getting an education. And he was telling me, he was like, how old are you? I'm like, that don't matter. Y'all worried about the wrong thing. Y'all need to be focused on the education, not trying to kill each other. It makes absolutely no sense.
And that mom has a good point. Y'all need to focus on getting an education, not, hurting each other.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 10th. I'm a sophomore.
So the last about 9 minutes of this is they talk to students who were inside the school when this all occurred.
So walk me through what happened today, what you heard and what you saw.
Okay, we were in our 5th period, and we heard on the announcements, I think it was our principal saying that there was a lockdown, and our teachers immediately ran to close the door and everything. Everyone was so scared. We heard it happened in G Hall, where I was in A Hall, so I was kind of far away, but I was really worried because I had friends over there. All my friends ran. We're all so scared. I'm shaking right now. I just hope everyone makes it out safe because they haven't found the gun. I heard it was a pink gun, a small pink gun. Everyone's talking
Interesting.
about saying names and everything. They had to escort us to lunch, to go to the restroom. Everyone was just scared. They didn't even check right. They came into my classroom, and the police came to my classroom, and they told us to put our hands up. I have videos of it too and everything.
And I'm sorry that you all had to even go through that because I know that's a scary situation. What was going through your mind at the time?
I was scared. I was texting my mom, my sister, to make sure my sister was fine since she's in school too. I was just really scared, honestly.
What was it like inside? What did they have you do when you were on lockdown? And what room were you in when on lockdown?
I was in A103, A Hall, with one of my chemistry teachers. Where else did you ask?
What was the room like? Yeah, what did you guys do?
We closed the door, covered the windows on the doors, put paper to it so no one could come lock it. We turned off the lights. It stayed quiet. All the time we stayed quiet.
And that whole time that you stayed quiet and were locked in that room, what were you feeling?
I was feeling very worried with my sister, especially, and anxious, and just wanting to get out fast because we had many death threats before in our school.
Wow.
So I feel very worried.
That's really scary. So this girl has said they've had many death threats in the school. And I mean, they could come in many forms, but that's really scary. I'm wondering if she's meaning, students threatening other students, threatening staff, or, calls being made. Either way, that's a pretty scary situation to be in.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the security when you guys go to school every day. What's usually what happens typically?
Usually, so this morning, there was this kid talking about he had drugs in his backpack, but as jokes, because some students are usually friends with the security in our school, but they don't take it seriously, right? Because they just tell us to open our backpack so they could check it. They check it, they don't check it right. They don't check every pocket. They open the school late. Okay, we're gonna get us class. They open the doors earlier, but they just don't take it seriously enough to take their time and actually check.
Now, there's metal detectors too there, right?
Yes.
You guys always, it's required to go through those metal detectors?
It's required, yes.
Okay, and do they always work or?
Not really. It doesn't always work because your phone rings during the metal detector. They tell you to put it in your backpack. Sometimes I leave it on and it doesn't ring. Sometimes I've heard people say that the metal detectors are not even on all the time.
You've heard some people say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What are your concerns? Having gone through all of this, and we see this happening across the country, really.
Yeah. My concern.
And one thing I've never heard is that when you go through a metal detector, your phone rings. I'm actually going to have to try that on Monday because I actually know that ours work because sometimes I'll walk through our metal detectors to get to the main office, and because I'm wearing my keys, I actually set the metal detector off. So I've never heard that it makes your phone ring when you go through a metal detector with your phone.
Are honestly to just take it more seriously. Honestly, I'm concerned of the people here since we had the threats, like I said before. Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add or
I just hope they find. Have they found them? I don't think so.
The person's been arrested.
Yeah. I heard someone ran away. I don't know that they ran through the forest and the bridge, but I don't know. But I just hope everyone's safe at the end.
I'm glad you're safe and that your sister's safe.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be out the school and back with your family?
Good. I'm relaxed now. I'm gonna go home, calm down. Yeah.
All a lot.
I just wanted to speak out because we need better security. Take things more seriously here. Yeah.
How important is it for you to speak out about that?
It's very important to me, honestly, because I have close friends that go here. I live like 5 minutes from the school, so it's really important.
All right, so just walk me through what happened today and what you heard and saw.
So really, I think it was like doing transition or whatever. I was just going to my class, and then I look up, I see kids running. I thought they were just running from like the principal or something, because that's what kids do nowadays. We just be running from.
So this is where, not to laugh at a serious situation, but it reminds me of my principal. Whenever the kids see him coming, they're like, "Oh no, oh no." And so when this kid said, he saw a bunch of kids running and he just thought they were running from, the principal, because that's what they do for fun, is just run from the principal. I guess maybe they shouldn't run from the principal much anymore, because you never know. At this point, after this incident, it may be that it's not just the principal, that it's something a little more menacing.
Principal fun, but apparently it was like somebody got shot. I thought they were playing, but then they was like lockdown. So we all had to go to our class. Well, I went to the nearest classroom, and then they had locked us up in there, and that really was it. We were just in there for about, I say, 3 hours, whatever, and yeah. See, I didn't want to be in there for that long. My mom was trying to rush me out, so I made a whole little escape plan, and I just ran out, just walked out. Yeah.
Did anybody say anything to you when you left out?
I love this kid. So he said, he made a little escape plan and ran out. I'm wondering what his escape plan was, where, no one saw him escaping, but and I also love his sunglasses, because it reminds me of the 80s when we had it was actually, the lenses were more of like the mirror, like the silver mirror, and then you had the different neon colors on each side.
One person did, and they tried to send me to the gym, but that didn't work out with me.
Oh, so they did
I
catch
just
him.
walked
They
right
tried to
back
get him
out.
to the
They say
gym.
anything the second time?
Nah.
And you walked all the way out from inside
Yeah,
the
I
school
walked
down?
all the way from school to here.
What do you think about everything that happened today? We see a lot of school shootings and different incidents that happen in the school. What's your thoughts on what happened today?
I don't know. That's crazy. I didn't expect that to happen. I thought I was gonna go to school and go back home, but that just happened. I don't know. That's crazy.
How you feeling right now?
I feel great because I get to go home.
Glad to be out of there.
Yeah.
Were you scared at all?
Nah.
Did you think anything more of it?
Nah. I didn't really think about it too much. It was just like, dang, he really shot somebody. So it was just.
What they do in the classrooms to keep y'all inside? Like.
Well, at first, there was a lot of kids that was screaming in the classroom, so they were trying to calm the kids down first. And then all they did, they just locked the doors, make sure the doors was locked, and then they just had us sitting there.
That was it. Okay.
We didn't do like the other stuff where we were supposed to turn off the lights and get all in the corner.
None of that. Okay. Anything? Are they releasing each student one by one?
They like making like the parents walk all the way over there, and they gonna call their name on the intercom, whatever. The kid come out. It's slow. It's a lot of kids that just want to walk out.
He just walked out.
They got pregnant people walking all the way over there. Feel bad.
You think how would you say overall? Is it like a mess? Is it chaotic? What is it?
It's a lot of people. Like that line is long. It's crowded. Like it's gonna take you a minute to get through there.
You came on out.
Yeah, I just walked out.
Well, I'm glad you're safe and that you're okay.
Thank you.
I was gonna ask you.
That kid, and I I've said it already, but this kid is just so happy and just so nonchalant and just like like, yeah, I just walked out. They caught me. They tried to make me go to the gym, and I walked out again.
When you first got in there on lockdown in the classroom, while you were in there, were they giving y'all updates? How soon did you feel safe?
Really, they wasn't even saying nothing. They were just saying we on lockdown, don't let no students out. And then I just went on the little TV thing they had, and I just looked up the news, and then I was just watching the news.
So you felt pretty safe?
Yeah, I was good.
Where were you? What
I
grade are you in?
I'm a junior in
Okay.
Wilma Hutchins. I was actually in G Hall where it all happened.
G Hall, what is that?
That's the hallway. What's the name of it? We just call that part G Hall. I was in my teacher's room when like we just heard a little sound and my friend was like, Jackie, get up. I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, there's a shooter. I was like no, there's no way. And we just hear like students screaming.
And they're running and
Yeah, like they were just running, screaming. And then that's whenever like the announcement go on. They're like, oh, like we're on a lockdown now. And so they shut our door, and then there's kids like opening our door to get in there.
What was the explain? What you were seeing? Were people frantic? Were they running?
Yes, I was seeing them run. I was seeing them just trying to go into a room. There was teachers all in the hallways trying to get them safe.
Screaming.
Yeah, screaming. It's just hard to hear that students could shoot another student, especially in school, and especially the security measures. I don't think there should be a way a kid could sneak in a gun in school.
So the shooting happened on campus.
In campus.
Where are you
inside.
emotionally right now?
I'm scared. I'm frightened right now. I'm shaking. I want to go home right now and just be with my parents. I don't want to be in school, especially because they're not keeping the kids safe at the moment. It's not safe at all. So
Where's G Hall?
G Hall is the back of the school.
The
So
very
if
back of the
yeah,
school?
so if you see the baseball field, basically if there's a door to get in there, that's G Hall.
And did the shooting happen in the hallway or what?
Inside a classroom, I think it was G10. It's G something, but it's over there by the art room.
The 100s?
Yes.
Wow, inside the classroom.
Inside the classroom.
So you heard the shots.
We heard like just a little tiny bang because it wasn't that loud, but we heard it.
How many shots?
Just one, and that's
Hmm.
whenever kids started running because there was kids in that classroom and they saw everything happen.
And it's interesting too that, I mean, not necessarily interesting, but the fact that there was only one gunshot that this girl heard makes me think that, these kids had words. The one kid pulled out a weapon, shot the other kid, and then maybe, I clearly he wasn't looking to hurt everybody in the classroom because he definitely could have if he chose to. I can't imagine.
Yeah. That's it.
What was that reunification?
It felt good. When I walked in the gym and I saw him sitting there, I was happy. I was really
Did you know
happy.
what he was wearing that day? Today? No?
Yes, I did. Only because, well, before he leaves, I see him before he go to school. So yeah,
How did you reunite? What was that like?
it was good. The reunification team called my name, brought me into the gym, and I saw him sitting there, and I was like, "Yes, Papa." That's what I call him.
So sweet. So sweet. So again, all of those parents who were waiting, that one boy had said or maybe it wasn't the boy, the girl had said it was about 3 hours that they were inside the classrooms, which makes sense. They have to clear every area and methodically go through and make sure that the situation is safe, not only for the students, but for the parents who are also waiting outside. And the one mom had said about her son that he doesn't do people, and that he has anxiety, and that he probably won't want to go back to school. And I can't disagree with that sentiment. I feel like it would be hard for anyone involved in that situation, educators and administrators alike, to feel safe again. Because, you know, in my career, I've never known of a gun to get through security or metal detectors, but there have been many times when knives, utility knives, pocket knives have gotten through security. And it just makes you wonder, you know, how. But, you know, with the backpacks being searched the way they are, kids know not to put things in their backpack because it'll be found. So they're putting them on their person so that when they are wanded or go through the metal detector, well, the metal detector should pick it up, but they're also wanded as well. It's just a very, very scary situation. And thankfully, even though one student was injured, it could have been a lot worse. And as we saw from that one graphic earlier, Texas itself has had 192 school shootings since the beginning of this year, which is second to California, which has had 232. And it's just, you know, we don't hear about all of them because not all of them are what we call CNN moments. So thank you everyone for being here today. I very much do appreciate it. I will be live later with Sinner on our joint channel. So if I don't see you there, I may see you on these YouTube streets. I don't plan on going live tomorrow. However, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this live, the attack at the Sydney, Australia mall, where 6 people were killed and several more injured, including a 9-month-old baby. Depending on, you know, what more information comes out on that, I may go live about that. But as of now, I think I'm going to take Sunday off. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And if I don't see you on these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.